Noah Lyles and Melissa Jefferson Wooden are in New York City, no doubt, for the USA Championships. But while they're there, they pulled up to have a conversation with the Today Show. That discussion was almost entirely about World Ultimate Championships, not the USA's. And I watched it about 5 times to listen to what was actually happening. So yeah, we're about to have the real conversation, because if you wanted to understand the disconnect between the track and field community and what's happening on the outside, like everyone else in the world who is not a tracky track fan, we just got a pretty good glimpse of what the actual breakdown is. Now, Noah and Melissa were there because they're Olympic gold medalists. To be clear, Melissa Jefferson Wooden did not win an individual gold medal, at least not yet at the games, but that's how they announce it. Worlds notwithstanding, they kick that to the curb whenever they actually have these discussions. It's all about World Ultimate. What is it? How do we hype people up for it? And the athletes are in there talking about all the things that us track fans already know, that World Championships have a real limitation. You only get 3 athletes per event from specific nations, and some nations, America in the sprints especially, normally miss out on sending other talented athletes to that stage. So they're trying to sell us on why World Ultimate is different. And remember, this is happening in New York City. They're shooting it on the street. USA Championships going on that same weekend with both of them competing, and they're barely saying a word about it. Like at all. The way they plug it at the end of the segment, oh yeah, you can catch them at the USA Championships in New York City. I guess they're not really worried about people buying tickets because they never even clarify where it's going to be available to watch. NBC owns the rights. They're the home of the Olympics. They might have given a plug depending on which segment you caught, because I'm seeing this online, not on cable. But here's the real conversation. Midway through, when they had a chance to make a left turn and actually talk about the USA Championship itself, they spend about a minute and a half on World Ultimate, then pivot straight to asking Noah, so the games are coming up in 2028. LA's on the horizon, less than 2 years away. How are you preparing for it? Noah almost took a step back. I know he's trying to stay on his best behavior, but I could see the gears turning. I could be wrong, but I doubt it, because they're having a whole conversation about actual track competitions that would prepare him to be his best self by LA 2028. And they just had that conversation, and the very next question is basically the same one again. So what are you doing to get ready for the games? At which point he answers with, well, competitions like this, where we compete against the best, iron sharpens iron, that's what comes out of it. Then and only then do they pivot to, hey, we wish you the best. We look forward to seeing you at LA 2028. And oh yeah, by the way, you can catch them at USA's. They're shooting this on the street, and I'm watching the faces of the people over the fence. I'm not entirely sure how many of them were actual track fans. But the disconnect, if you never understood it before, is this. People genuinely believe track and field athletes go into a vault and pop back out during the Olympic Games. And nothing we're doing has convinced them otherwise. Allow me to explain. World Ultimate getting hyped up makes sense on the surface. It's a 3-day event. Peacock and NBC own the rights to something people might actually watch if they knew it was happening. I have no idea how much real cable coverage it's going to get versus just Peacock, because Peacock has a limited group of people who actually have it, and even if you do have it, doesn't mean the algorithm is going to show you track and field in any desirable way. You'd have to go on a mission. Trust me, I would know. I have a Peacock subscription, and if you actually want to find track and field on that app, you got to click over to sports, then navigate further to the track and field section. And only then can you find what you're looking for. Now widen the lens with me for a second. Americans treat almost every world competition this same way. Men's soccer did it backwards. They decided the World Cup is all that matters, and the Olympics are so far down the list. They didn't even send a senior national team to the most recent Olympics. They sent an under-23 squad. Basketball's the easiest example, though. Nobody takes it seriously. America doesn't even send our A team to those in-between events. We send a JV roster and hope it's good enough. They're not even worried about winning as much as just qualifying. But when the actual games come around, we send the Avengers. People think about track exactly the same way. Like all these other years, we ain't really sending our best. And then the games come, and oh, this is the moment. Here's my honest take, though. From real conversations I've had with athletes who've competed at both the Games and the World Championships, there's essentially no competitive difference between the two products. You could argue, depending on the year, that Worlds is even harder to win. The only thing that actually shifts is how many casual fans are paying attention to one versus the other. World Ultimate, because I know the athletes are taking it seriously to some degree, it's the single biggest thing on their calendar as far as prize money in 2026. And it's the biggest reputation builder available. Even though nobody has a clear understanding of what it actually is yet, there's no history to it. My honest opinion, World Ultimate might end up being the best thing and the worst thing to happen to Pro Track at the same time. Best, because it's throwing real money at the sport and giving athletes a better experience. Worst, because it pulls attention away from them going out and being actual working professionals in events that already exist, that pay real money, where they're sponsored, where the racing itself is supposed to be what matters, and instead it trivializes all of that. Which brings me right back to the USA Championships, the same event nobody wanted to bring up on camera. I'm not mad at Noah, I'm not mad at Melissa, I'm not blaming either of them. They're just rolling with the spot as it's presented to them. But USA Championships is starting to feel like a joke around this time, and I'm going to keep covering it seriously on this channel regardless. You might even catch me there on the ground. The bigger issue is the list of people scheduled to run who are pulling out. Rai Benjamin was set to run the 400, decided he's not doing it. Christian Coleman was written down for the 200, on paper supposed to finish second behind Noah Lyles, decided he's not running either. We just heard Jordan Anthony isn't running the 100 or the 200. We just saw him on the Diamond League. We're not going to see him here. Vashti Cunningham isn't coming. Gabby Thomas isn't coming. The list keeps going. I get why an athlete who already has world medals might pull out to save themselves for World Ultimate. What I don't get is why athletes without that same resume are doing the exact same thing. Because USA Championships alongside the Prefontaine and a handful of USATF tour stops is about as good as it gets for promoting a real professional track product in this country. That's the whole infrastructure we've got. Here's why nothing changes though. USATF isn't built to professionalize athletes the way some other countries' federations are. They just host events, let the cream rise to the top, and if you win, they send you over. It feels like Noah Lyles is part of Team USA because he keeps winning, but he's not really on a team. He's an individual earning the right to represent over and over again. Melissa Dos Santos didn't represent Team USA in 2023 because she didn't qualify. That's how conditional the whole thing is. And here's the real cultural piece. In America, you can't just be one of the best in the world. Making a final doesn't make you special. You're only getting noticed if you're winning actual gold medals. That's the entire difference between Vashti Cunningham and Grace Stark. One has an Olympic gold, the other has a world championship medal in the hurdles that's still not gold, and nobody was really paying attention to it. Same thing with Melissa Jefferson Wooden. She's got individual world championship gold medals, plural, but that gets left completely off her introduction to the general public. They just focus on the Olympic relay gold because that's the label that sticks. And NBC proves the point too. The Today Show's YouTube account has something like 6 million subscribers, but subscribers are just a vanity number at this point. What matters is what actually gets watched. And a recent segment they ran with an actor from a movie is climbing toward 400,000 views. Compare that to whatever this track segment pulls in, it's going to be night and day. NBC did a spot. I respect that they did it. The athletes answered every question they were given. But if you ever wanted proof of the disconnect between our community and everybody else, it's this. They don't care. They only care about the games, and you can't fully blame the public for that if nobody's giving them much else to watch consistently. Gilbert Arenas said it best on his podcast, talking straight to Noah. Nobody's questioning the talent. We saw you at the games, but what you actually need is a league somewhere. So we know where to look, so we can clock it. So from that point forward, we can say we're going to watch him do his thing in that league. And when they say league, they mean it the way people actually understand the word. Everything's a consequence. Every competition is a competition that matters. There's no warm-up races on the way to the real ones. That's not what track currently gives its own biggest stars. The sport of track and field isn't just about running fast one time. It's about doing it over and over and over again. That's how you let everybody else know that fast is a lifestyle. And that's why I keep showing up here to break this down for you. So make sure you like, subscribe, and drop your take in the comments because I try to read every single one.